When the NFL schedule came out last week, there were a lot of raised eyebrows across the NFL community when the Falcons were slotted into multiple primetime games, which to me, I think shows a ton of confidence and belief from the league office in Michael Penix and the Falcons. So I want to break this down on today's show because I feel like there's a little bit more to the story that needs to be unpacked. And I think you'll get a good kick out of the whole thing. So let's start by just reviewing the Falcons' 2025 schedule, what they have on tap. We knew the opponents, we knew the location, we just did not know the when. So the Falcons have 17 games of manageable opponents in terms of the level of difficulty compared to other teams across the league. But the thing that really jumps out to me is the primetime games. Now, I have a slightly personal different definition of primetime. I care more about the standalone games. Technically, primetime is just playing at night. I understand that when you play at 9:30 in the morning against Germany, that's not primetime, but you're the only one on. And in the modern NFL, if you're on and no one else is, everyone is watching you. So the Falcons have 5 primetime games by definition, but to me, if you are the only standalone game, that's primetime. So in PD's definition, Atlanta has 6 primetime games. But let's just go to not confuse people with the term standalone games. The Falcons this year have 6 standalone games. You can see how that just towers over the last 9 seasons. I mean, last year they got 5 once they signed Kirk Cousins, so a little bit more juice. And you can see how, last year alone, that's more than the previous 3 years combined. But you got to go all the way back to 2017, the last time before 2024, when they had 5 standalone games. But Adam Schefter on his podcast recently said the National Football League is saying, bring on Michael Penix and what he could do. Penix to Drake London, Penix to Darnell Mooney, Penix to Bijan Robbinson. It was fun to watch. The league is in for more. And then Marc Ross from NFL Network was on the Insiders show. He said, I don't know if it was just a quirk because of the opponents they are playing, or if the league intentionally thinks, well, maybe Michael Penix is going to light it up and be an MVP type candidate and have a resurgence with the Dirty Birds down there. So we'll talk more about the Penix side of things actually on probably tomorrow's episode because I want to kind of dig a little bit deeper there. But as for just the Falcons getting 5 primetime games, 6 standalone games, I've got 2 theories/reasons as to how that came about. Because I don't think many people thought that'd be the case for the Falcons coming off an 8-9 season. Reason number 1 is the NFL just flat out believes in the Falcons. They feel like Michael Penix is going to be the real deal. The NFL is in the business of putting together the best possible matchups so that TV ratings do well, and the next time those contracts are up, they can get more money in those TV contracts from NBC, Netflix, Prime, right? So it's in their best interest to make sure they have the best teams playing on Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, so they can cash in on those contracts from ESPN, NBC, Amazon. So the NFL, I think, has some level of belief that Falcons are going to be a good team this year, and we want to get good teams into the primetime bubble. Reason number 2, and these don't have to be separate. It can be a combination. It could be one or the other. But I like to think it's more of an and versus an or. The and is I think the NFL sees Michael Penix and the Falcons as a team that's going to have maybe a better year than what we expect for a team coming off an 8-9 campaign. Plus, they probably want to help juice the Atlanta market a little bit. It's a big market. And as of late, we saw up until 2024, it just didn't get a lot of attention or love from the NFL for the big primetime matchups. And I think the league wants markets like Atlanta to be successful. And so they're trying to bring some of the juice back a little bit. And with all the hype and the excitement surrounding Michael Penix, this seems like a good time to accomplish that. So I like to think both these reasons played a factor. Now, the question I have, and this is a question that spent me like an hour of research to do, and I'm going to save you that hour of research, is history on the NFL side. The Atlanta Falcons playing 5 primetime games, 6 if you ask me, off an 8-9 season is a little unusual. Can we all agree on that? Okay. There are 4 teams this year who have 5 primetime games that were losers last year. They lost more than they won. The Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, the Atlanta Falcons, and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, we always know that Dallas is going to get a boatload of primetime games. Win or lose the previous year, they're going to get a lot. The Dolphins and Falcons at 5 are a little bit, I wouldn't say head-scratching, but, slightly off guard. But Miami was in the postseason not long ago, and if Tua is healthy, they should be a 10-win team, and that would be something that the NFL would like to see more of in those primetime slots. The 49ers just had a bad year, and I expect them to bounce back and rebound, and just like 2 years ago, be right there at the end of the season with the Super Bowl champions in that big game. So these two make some sense. This one, I understand. The Falcons, it takes a little bit more explaining, right? It's not like they've been to the postseason recently like Miami, Dallas, and San Francisco. So it got me wondering, when you take a team that comes off a losing season and you put them in a bunch of primetime games, how well do they do? So here's what I learned. Take last year, for example. The 2023 Falcons, so 2 years ago now, went 7-10. Then that upcoming offseason, they signed Kirk Cousins, 13 months ago. In 2024, the Falcons had 4 primetime games. They went 8-9. So if you take this model and then stretch it over the last 4 seasons, here's what I found. You took a losing team in the Jets, you gave them 6 primetime games, they lost even more. Same thing happened again in the Jets for 2022, going into 2023. The Packers are the only good example of a team going from losing to winning, but they just flip-flop one game. They went from 8-9 to 9-8 with 5 primetime games. Go back a little bit further. The Raiders, 6-11 in 2022. Then they get Devontae Adams. I think they get Jimmy Garoppolo, and they get gifted 5 primetime games, and they go 8-9. The Bears, 3-14. They get 4 primetime games the next year. They go 7-10. Fortunately, you can see it's not a very good trend, right? I went all the way back to 2021. I found 9 examples of teams with a losing record getting at least 4 primetime games the next season. So the NFL betting on 9 teams that were bad to be better the next year. And of those 9, 8 had losing seasons the next year. History, unfortunately, not on Atlanta's side. History would actually indicate you're screwed, and everyone's going to hate your guts because you were bad the previous year, but the NFL still thought you could be better the next year. So we're going to make everyone watch you on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night, and then America's going to be pissed at you for having to watch that garbage product. It happened to the Bears for a bunch there. Like, the Bears kept getting a bunch of primetime games, and they just were not that compelling. Then the torch kind of got passed from Chicago to Denver when they got Russell Wilson the first year. Remember that? And we had to watch Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan on the Colts on Thursday night, a 9-6 game. And then the Broncos had that torch, and then they passed it off to the Jets, who the last 2 years have sucked. But the NFL was so excited for a New York market to maybe be somewhat relevant, so they just bombed them with primetime games. And it was awful for America. I hated it. We hated it. And now it's Atlanta's turn. Maybe. It's only 1 year. But again, as a student of history, as someone who loves some World War II in color, and my fiance's out of town. Right now I'm watching the Bin Laden documentary on Netflix. Very good. I had no idea. I mean, I'm 27, so very early in my life when all that happened. The different name pronunciations that he had. But anywho, yeah, not good, I'd say, to be in that club of, we know you weren't good last year. We think you're going to be good this year. So we're going to give you a bunch of primetime games before you prove you're worthy of Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Thanks. So fingers crossed. That's really all I can offer you right now. I'm going to choose to be optimistic. Right? The Packers went 8-9, and then we're 9-8. Falcons win 8-9. Why can't they go from 8-9 to 9-8, 10-7? A winning season, I'll be happy with. So, fingers crossed. Before we sign off, if you want to get a Jalen Walker jersey or a James Pierce Jr. jersey, go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. It's a great way to, one, support the channel, and two, get yourself a brand new Falcons jersey from Fanatics. So, like I said, this link is in the comments and description of today's video. Now, let's spin the wheel to wrap it all up. Who's going to get 2 claps? Oh, ATL Connor. Appreciate you, Connor. Archangel was right there. 2 claps for you. 1, 2. All right. We're going to sign off, and we're going to see everyone later.